Hey, Bobby Rio here. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to never run out of things to say and how to keep a conversation flowing. So this used to be my Achilles heel, right? This was the main weakness I had, especially talking to a cute girl. My mind would go blank. I just couldn't think of anything to say. I would sputter out. I'd have that awkward silence. I remember a time that I was at a party and this like adorable kind of punk rockish girl walks up to me, tells me I'm cute, and she kisses me on the lips and says, "Sorry, I just had to do that." And like my friend's standing next to me, he scoots out of the way thinking like, "Oh, I got it in the bag." Little did he know. Nope. Literally 3 minutes later, she walks away bored because I just shit the bed. My mind went blank, and I think I mumbled like, "What's your major?" or something equally as boring. This girl had kissed me on the lips, and I bored her away in 3 minutes. So how do some guys always know what to say? How do they never stall out? Well, I'm going to give you 3 tips. And specifically, I'm going to give you tips in regards to talking to a girl you're attracted to. But these tips can really apply in pretty much any situation. So the first tip is make it about her. She will always be her favorite topic. If you're stuck on what to say, tell her something about herself. Now, I don't mistake what I'm saying is to ask her boring questions about where she grew up or what do you do for fun. That shit gets boring fast. Tell her something you notice about her, your perception of her. Now, this does not mean compliment her. It means make a statement about her that gets her talking about herself, gets her opening up. There's a solid piece of advice that says turn questions into statements. And what this means is instead of asking her, "So where are you from?" you would say, "You don't seem like you're from around here." The second way, it leads to a much more interesting conversation because she's going to be like, "Oh, why do you think that?" "Well, oh no, I am from around here. I'm not from around here." Second piece of advice, lower the bar. One of the things I discovered by watching a lot of guys who are really well with girls is that they say a lot of stupid, pointless shit. Me on the other hand, I would sit there and I would overanalyze everything I was going to say. I'd censor myself. I'd second guess everything that popped into my head, worried if it was going to sound bad or I was going to sound stupid. And what happened is it made me sound stilted and nervous. Here's the deal, and this is super important. It's the vibe that's important. It's not what you're actually saying. It's the back and forth banter that's happening. You're trying to create a vibe. You're not trying to impress her with specific things you're saying. All you're doing is trying to get a vibe. And if you say just about anything with confidence and certainty, you'll be fine. Trust me. I cringe at some of the shit that has come out of my mouth, yet in the end, it didn't hurt me because the vibe was right. So the third piece of advice is have a commode story. So if you saw the movie Reservoir Dogs, there was an undercover cop in the movie, and he had to infiltrate a crime ring. And one of his assignments was to have a good story memorized and ready to tell. That's a great piece of advice for meeting girls, or really for interacting with anybody, is have a few stories that you can easily tell, and preferably stories that lead to further conversations. For the longest time, I used a question. If I felt myself running out of these things to say, if I felt my mind going, "Oh, I don't know what to talk about," right? I would just look at the girl and go, "Hey, before I forget, I need your opinion on this. I was talking to my friend earlier, and do drunk I love yous count? Like if somebody says I love you for the first time while they're drunk, do you think it counts?" The reason I ask is because a girl he's kind of seeing, right? She's drunk the other night, and she like says I love you to him. And now he's like wondering, like, should he acknowledge it? Does he like, is it real or was she just drunk? This almost always would lead to a fun conversation. And if I wanted to introduce a little sexuality into it, I'd go like, what about saying I love you during really good sex? Does that count? Now, one of the things that guys ask me, right, is how can I tell if she's into me? How do I know if she even wants me to keep talking to her? Is she attracted to me, right? Does she see me just as like this nice, friendly guy, or is she interested in something? The truth is, there are dozens of little signs that girls are giving off, but most guys completely miss them. So what I did was I put together a report called 88 Ways to Read a Girl's Mind and Know Exactly What She's Thinking. So there's some, first off, I gotta tell you, there's some really sneaky stuff in there that lets you glimpse inside a girl's mind. For instance, there's an innocent text that you can send a girl, and you just wait, and how she replies tells you how likely you are to sleep with her. It's really under the radar. There's a link below this video as well as up on the side. Click the link and you'll discover all the secret strategies to get inside her head to know exactly what she's thinking. So I hope you enjoyed these 3 tips on how to keep a conversation going. And if you're like I was and your big obstacle in addition to keep it was going was even knowing if she wanted you to keep it going, then check out the link and check out our report, 88 Ways to Read a Girl's Mind.